Yeah, welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Thursday, the 27th of April. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast presented as always by our friends at Anidjar and Levine. No one's going to take care of you the way Anidjar and Levine accident attorneys are going to take care of you after you're involved in an accident. Doesn't matter what kind. If you're dealing with a personal injury, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. And do we have a show for you today? Obviously, we are super fired up over a night we have never had. I don't need to go in the archives. I don't need to call Elias Sports Bureau. I don't need to go to ESPN Stats and Info to know that we had a night like never before in the history of South Florida sports. The Panthers extend their season with an overtime thriller. The Heat end the Milwaukee Bucks season with an overtime thriller. They come back-to-back on the same night. What a night. Never happened before. Center of the sports universe. That's right. South Florida. That's what I'm talking about. So we got a great show today. Now, the first thing that you may be saying to yourself is, ZASLOW, yes, I love what happened with the Heat last night. I love what happened with the Panthers last night. But what the hell is going on with your face? Why are you wearing sunglasses? You look like a douchebag. Yes, I look like a total douchebag right now. So, I told you guys yesterday that I woke up with an infection on my eyelid. I have a sty on my eye. It's embarrassing, and I'm hideous, all right? I cannot subject you to what it looks like. And you may be saying, oh, ZASLOW, I got to see it. There is no way I'm showing anybody. So yesterday I decided, all right, I'm going to do the show, of course, but I'm not going to do video. But when I don't do video, I don't then get to put out the promo clips on Twitter. So I want to put out the promo clips, and I want to whet your appetite for what's coming up on ZASLOW Show 2.0 today. And if I don't do the video, I don't get to whet your appetite's dry. I want to wet it. So I decided, okay, let's do this. I'll sacrifice looking normal. I'll look like a total douchebag, and I'll just wear the sunglasses during the show. So that's what we got today. I'm going to wear the glasses. My eye is very swollen. It's swollen shut just about. My vision is awful, and I'm super uncomfortable. So I decided, let's just put on the glasses. We'll do the show. So if you're watching on youtube.com/@ZASLOWShow, or I already told you, listening to the podcast is the most important thing for me, but go check out the YouTube page right quick, and you can see, I'm wearing sunglasses inside my own house. I look like a douchebag, but it is what it is. So last night, how did I go out last night, right? Okay, last night was such a weird night. I told you guys, and I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I know, everybody's happy. So last night, I have tickets for AEW Dynamite at FLA Live Arena in Sunrise. Show was fun. You know, the first thing I want to say, and I knew this, the show did not sell well. We're a terrible pro wrestling town. Central Florida's awesome. South Florida, terrible pro wrestling audience. Only the lower level was sold, and really only like half the lower level, because they didn't sell the hard camera side, and there were plenty of empty seats otherwise. So not only did the show not sell well, which I knew was the case, but the crowd was so weak. Just AEW is usually a super hot crowd. It's one of the things that drew me into watching AEW. A crowd is a major part of the show. Crowd stunk last night. And it takes away from the show. It does. It was actually a much better crowd at James L. Knight Center when AEW used to do the shows there down here in downtown Miami. Terrible crowd last night for AEW. I'm sure it played out that way on television too. Super, super weak crowd. I'm surprised we still get pro wrestling down here. And that's not just an AEW thing. WWE is like that too. Their crowds when Raw is here, when SmackDown is here, sucks. Terrible. We're a terrible pro wrestling town. It breaks my heart. It sucks. But anyway, So, such a weird night for me because you got Game 5 Heat, kind of important, and I'm going to wrestling. You know, my son, it's the thing we do together, and I explained this last week, right? Oh, ZASLOW, come on, which is more important? Obviously, the Heat and the Panthers are so much more important, but there are going to be a million Heat-Panther playoff games. There have been a million Heat-Panther playoff, well, not necessarily Panthers, but there have been a million Heat-Panther playoff games in my life, even so far. I have a finite amount of time to do things like this with my boys, and that's not going to last forever. So we're going to wrestling, and I'm going to get home probably mid-second quarter, excuse me, for the Heat game. Okay, that's fine. And which, by the way, is exactly what happened. I live close enough to FLA Live Arena. I did not stay for the taping of Rampage right after Dynamite ended at 10 p.m. We're out of here, all right? Because I got to get home. Not only did I have to get home to watch the Heat, I had to get home to watch the Panthers overtime. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So I got home mid-second quarter of the Heat game to watch the rest live in the ZASLOW Mansion family room on the couch in my underwear. You know my style. So that worked out with the 9:30 start. The Panther game is on at 7. So I got to my seats in time, 7 p.m. last night, in part because I want to be able to watch the Panther game. So I was super distracted from Dynamite, which is right in front of me because we're sitting ringside. We were 3 rows ringside. So it's not like I was sitting in the front row and I'm on my phone. That'd have been very disrespectful to the performers. But Dynamite was fun. Roderick Strong debuted. That was a great pop. That was fun. But I was very distracted watching the Panthers on my phone. By the time we got to my car, when Dynamite ended, overtime had just started. So, and I watched the whole game on my phone, all right? I'm in the car now. We got the game on. I got a stand, you know, in my car. My son's watching. I'm listening / watching in the car on the drive home. And Tkachuk scores the game winner. So I got to see, I saw, like, it all worked out last night. I got to see everything while also going to AEW Dynamite. And oh my God, I almost crashed on the way home. My son and I celebrating in the car, the Tkachuk goal. I mean, you're supposed to be 10-2 with your hands on that steering wheel. My hands, I was fist pumping, all right? My hands were nowhere near the steering wheel. Very, very dangerous. I was very excited. Very big moment. Very dangerous. But I got to catch everything. That was the point, right? So, before we get to all of that stuff, what did I do last night as far as my eye? Can't go out in public looking like this. So I decided, all right, I got to be the guy who wears sunglasses indoors. And I wore sunglasses, these, the whole time in the arena at AEW Dynamite. Had to do it. I'm not going to show you. Just imagine, my eye is super swollen and it's almost shut. There was no way that I was sitting there looking like this. So I wore the sunglasses indoors. Looking like a douche. So it is what it is. Hopefully this gets better within the next couple days. I'm really uncomfortable, but hey, we're all day to day, right? Got to work through it, all right? It's playoff time. You got to work through it. So I had a great time last night. Obviously, the highlight was, we don't need to look it up. There's no way that's ever happened before. Not just that both our teams won in the playoffs on the same night, but they both won in overtime, and the stakes were the Panthers needed it to stay alive, and the Heat made history last night. I thought it was just the 4th team. They're the 6th team to win a series as the number 8 seed. But a couple of firsts in NBA history. First ever 8 seed to only lose 1 game when winning a series. Also, first play-in team to win a series. Now, the Lakers may be another one of those. They lost last night, but still. But the Heat, the Lakers are a 7. The Heat are an 8. So The Heat are not only the first play-in team to ever win a series, but they're the first ever play-in number 8 seed to win a series, and first time in NBA history for an 8 seed who only lost 1 game to then win a series. A lot of firsts last night for your favorite little basketball team. Wow. Unbelievable. All right, let's get to it here. By the way, tonight's the NFL draft. I totally don't feel it. Now, a big part of that is because, Dolphins don't have a first-round pick. So I'll be more dialed in tomorrow, Dolphins' second-round pick. Okay, fine. And look, when the draft starts, I will be watching. But you may be saying to yourself, or maybe not, because, you know my wheelhouse, all right? Heat, Panthers, Dolphins, obviously, music, concerts, pro wrestling. But draft stuff, that's not my thing. And especially when the Dolphins don't have a draft pick in the first round, it's not my thing. So we'll certainly talk about it on the show tomorrow. I'm gonna watch tonight. I'll be into it tonight, but I haven't been doing any draft coverage because I'm not a phony baloney. You guys know that's not my thing. So if you're looking for the draft, hey, you go to Big O. Orlando, how's it going? My guy Orlando's got you covered there as far as the draft stuff. That's his thing, all right? He's your guy. But you know where I'm coming from. So we'll do some draft stuff tomorrow. But I totally don't feel the NFL draft. Aaron Rodgers, though, was introduced yesterday to the New York Jets media. We'll do a little bit on that. I'll tell you, he's tough to take. He's tough to take. We'll get to that. All right. We got to do the Heat first, of course. Panthers, I'm telling you, we're in the car on the way home. We were so fired up. Tkachuk with the winner there. But we obviously have to start with your favorite little basketball team, the Miami Heat. Who, by the way, my guy Colin at Sheets and Giggles, he's the founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles. Best sheets out there, sheetsgiggles.com, sheetsgiggles.com/ZASLOW. Use my name, my promo code at checkout. You'll get 20% off your first order. Use promo code HEAT. You'll get 25% overall on your order, whether it's your first or not, all right? Sheets and Giggles, sheetsgiggles.com. The ZASLOW family, we are 4 of over 100,000 Americans who are sleeping on Sheets and Giggles. I mean, so comfortable. The comforter, it's the best comforter I've ever slept on by far. But all the sheets, they're soft, they're breathable. I got a eucalyptus pillow that I love. I love a good heavy but soft pillow. Got a great eucalyptus pillow. You could try their eucalyptus mattress as well. Sheetsgiggles.com. So after the game last night, my man Colin, he sent me and my son to game 3. Heat Bucks. Great night. Colin wants to send me to New York. He wants to send me to Heat Knicks at Madison Square Garden. So we're going to talk later today. Game 1 is Sunday afternoon. Definitely not going up for game 1 Sunday afternoon because I am in Naples this weekend. My older son Corey's got a soccer tournament, Weston Select U14 boys. So very big weekend for my guys there. We're going to be in Naples. Definitely not going to game 1 in New York. But game 2 Tuesday night, I may have to be there. And my man Colin, again, Sheets and Giggles, great sponsor of ZASLOW Show 2.0. He straight up wants to send me to the game. So we're going to talk later today. I may be going up to New York. I've been to one basketball game at the Garden. Been to a bunch of, I've seen Pearl Jam at the Garden 1, 2, 3, I think 3 times. I've seen Dave Matthews at the Garden once. Saw Rage Against the Machine at the Garden. I've been to ACC Big East. I think it was Duke Syracuse at the Garden. That's old school. It's back in the day. And I've been to a Heat Knicks regular season game at the Garden. I've never been to a playoff game at the Garden. Certainly never Heat Knicks playoffs. Oh my God, Heat Knicks? Like it was taboo to talk about it the last couple days. Ain't taboo anymore. That shit's going down. So we'll talk. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. Everybody calm down. Hold on, okay? But my man Colin, he wants to send me to Heat Knicks. I'm thinking we may do game 2. I got to talk to my wife. Like I told you, Colin wanted to send me last night in Milwaukee. Probably should have went. But you got to pick and choose your battles. I was in Brooklyn last weekend for work. I can't then turn around and tell my wife, hey, I'm going to Wisconsin. No, but next week, there's some time in between. We'll see. But, oh my God, Sheets and Giggles, the best. Love them. All right. We talked about this after the season ended, right? Where one of the most disappointing things about this, or the most disappointing thing about this season is not just that they underachieved in the regular season, not just that they're the 8th seed, but it was not a very likable team. And what I mean by that is, like, they never gave us that moment in the regular season. Even, like, for instance, and you don't have to be a team that wins a lot of games to have great moments. I mean, some people's all-time favorite Miami Heat team is or was the 2004 Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade's rookie season. That team won 42 games. How could a team that won just 42 games be your all-time favorite team? Because there were amazing moments throughout the season. This year's team did not give us any good moments. It was a constant struggle. It was not fun. And that's why going into the playoffs, it's like, maybe we'll finally get a good moment, but this team has blown opportunities the entire year. And guess what? It ended up coming to fruition. This team, after giving us nothing in the regular season, has given us an all-time Miami Heat series victory. That this team, I can't believe this Heat team, of all Miami Heat teams in the history of the franchise, this Heat team just gave us an all-time series win. It's so illogical. This team is the one that did it. And they did it. They did it. So we've been waiting all season long for something. And this season now, no matter what happens moving forward, I pretty much felt this way after Jimmy's Game 4. Sedano on the show the other day swore the Heat still have to win the series for that game, that performance to carry weight. I didn't necessarily agree. It doesn't matter, it happened. So now it holds weight forever. No matter what happens the rest of the way here. This season, I don't want to go with a success because the team's not going to look at it that way. This team wants to win championships. But no matter what happens now, this, for the Heat fan, they gave you something this season. And it feels pretty big, and it feels like it's not close to over. I can't believe this Heat team gave us the all-time series moments. This Heat team. So unlikable throughout the regular season. And you know what? Last night, Game 5, again, another opportunity. The Heat had an opportunity in Game 4. Jimmy took it. The Heat had an opportunity in Game 5. They took it again. A team that had been blowing opportunities all season long. How about, I said this the other day, how about wanting the Heat to lose the play-in against Toronto for your 0.4% chance at getting the number 1 overall pick? You want 0.4% chance over this? Oh my God, that's stupid. So now, and by the way, talking about opportunities, a great team, like the Heat in 2011, they had an opportunity going into Game 5 in Chicago, Eastern Conference Finals, up 3-1. You got an opportunity to close out the Bulls right here, and they did. Even the series before that, up 3-1, coming home, Eastern semis against Boston, you got an opportunity to close out that great team in Game 5. They did. great teams take advantage of these kind of opportunities. A great team will win that game, close out the Bucks last night. And they did it. But while a great team goes in there last night and strangles them and wins that game, this is not a great Heat team. So I don't know what to do with that. This is not a great team. They were last in the league in offense this year. Now, the three-point shooting has been great in the playoffs. And we know that's the thing that's been missing. 2020, the Heat were a great three-point shooting team. They get to the finals. 21, bad three-point shooting team. Lose in the first round. 22, great three-point shooting team. Eastern Conference Finals Game 7 and number 1 seed. 2023, lousy three-point shooting team, 8th in the East. But now they are hitting the threes. And also, Jimmy Butler is the best player in the world right now. Yeah. He was obviously the best player in the series. Jimmy Butler is the best player in the world right now. Oh my God. Unbelievable. A great team goes into Milwaukee last night and wins that game. But they're not a great team. Or maybe they are. Because now it feels like it's on, right? Now it's on. Oh my God, Heat Knicks. Oh, I'm not even ready to do Heat Knicks yet. We'll get to it. We'll get to Heat Knicks. Hey, real quick here. Let me tell you guys. Water Cleanup of Florida, one of our newest sponsors on ZASLOW Show 2.0. Super important to me. Look, you know, the sponsor, you got to support the sponsors who support the show. That's how we keep everything free. I told you guys, I'm never going to charge you for this show. That's never going to happen. I will stop doing the show before I charge you guys. But the way this thing, and I know some people charge out there, I will never do that. But the way this thing keeps going round and round is you support the sponsors who support ZASLOW Show 2.0. And the Greenstein boys at Water Cleanup of Florida, they're super important to me. They're family friends. I grew up with them. And they should be important to you because if you got water damage in your home, if you got a leak, maybe you can't find where it's coming from, that could be a major problem. Call or text Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. My boys, the Greensteins, we're talking over 60 years of combined experience, prepared to handle all types of leak detection. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The leak will be located, repaired, and then Water Cleanup of Florida, they're going to clean, dry, and fully restore the damaged areas. Fully licensed, insured, certified, Water Cleanup of Florida is going to provide that one-stop shopping that busy homeowners and business owners require. You don't have to bring in other general contractors. They're going to handle the entire project from start to finish. That's my favorite part. Water Cleanup of Florida serving the entire Tri-County area, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties, 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida, we clean up your schmutz. So, now, I think there's going to be a lot of talk about this on television, where did the Heat win this game, or did the Bucks lose this game? And I really do think there's both, but I'm going to caution the Heat fan, do not get angry when people are going on television and saying the Bucks lost this game, because, my God, there is so much truth to that. When the Bucks are up 13 early in the fourth quarter of Game 4. When the Bucks are up 16 early in the fourth quarter of Game 5. You have to acknowledge that the Bucks pulled off a major choke job, big time meltdown. So it's both. The Heat totally took these last two games behind Jimmy Butler, but the Bucks also had such a meltdown. That's a stupid team. They really are. And the reason they've been able to get so far is because they're super talented. And obviously Giannis is we've never seen anyone like him. But this is a stupid team. They are not a smart basketball team. But they've been able to live off of their talent. And then you go up against a team like Miami, who is a very high IQ team and just plays like a bunch of dogs. You know, I'm listening to my guys Frank and Scal this morning on SiriusXM NBA radio, and they said it best. Like, the Heat were out there against the Bucks, and the Heat looked like a team that was in a street fight. They were fighting for their lives. They were in a street fight. And that's how they play. So don't get upset when people are going to go on television today and say that the Bucks lost this game. There's so much truth to that. All right. Giannis was a total spaz out there. I mean, I think he had 14 missed free throws, which prevents him then from driving at the basket because you go to the free throw line so often, it's embarrassing missing all those free throws. And he misses them badly. So he took a lot of jumpers in the fourth quarter, a lot of jumpers in overtime. And the losing the ball and the falling down, he was a total spaz out there. The decision-making as well. Budenholzer, he stinks. I'm going to tell you something. I think he gets fired. Yep. We know that in 2021, if he didn't win the NBA Finals, he was going to get fired. It's only 2 years later. Hey, let's not pretend we didn't just see this. 3 years after winning the Finals, Nick Nurse just got fired. I believe Mike Budenholzer gets fired. He was awful last night. Eric Spoelstra, who is the best coach in the NBA, coached circles around Budenholzer. Total meltdown. So listen, these are just things off the top of my head here, all right? Giannis, again, was a total spaz in this game. Giannis doesn't want the ball because he can't shoot free throws. Holiday down the stretch misses the free throw, which keeps it a 2-point game at the end of the fourth quarter. Holiday is an amazing free throw shooter. Holiday with the choke, missing the free throw. Middleton doesn't want to shoot the ball at the end of overtime. And Budenholzer, how about this? So at the end of regulation, the Heat are down by 2, side out in the front court, however much time was left. Okay, Giannis is guarding the inbounds pass, Gabe Vincent, which, by the way, can we acknowledge, because this has happened before this year, Gabe Vincent is excellent at that pass. He's a great inbounds passer. Phenomenal at that pass. So Giannis is on Gabe Vincent there at the end of regulation. Let's give this a listen.
All right. Duncan's in the backcourt. Butler on the baseline. The lob for Jimmy. Makes the catch. Put it up and in. He put it up and in with a half second left to tie the game at 118. Giannis, time's over. Overtime.
I don't want to hear any complaining about Jimmy pushing. Jimmy was also held. It works both ways. I'm looking at it saying there should have been an and one there. But they let it go. Nobody complained. It's playoff basketball. Play. Let them play. Because the officials, they were not good last. For both sides. Both. I mean, I feel for most of the game, the Heat got the short end of the whistle. But then in fourth quarter and overtime, I thought it was super questionable both ways. But anyway, so Gabe Vincent there is guarded on the inbounds by Giannis, which, all right, makes all the sense in the world. How the hell is Brook Lopez not in the game? Brook Lopez should have been the one on the inbounds pass. He's 7 feet tall. He's a wall. Giannis should have been guarding Jimmy. Can you imagine if Lopez is on the inbounds pass, blocking Gabe Vincent's vision, and Giannis is protecting the rim, guarding Jimmy? Budenholzer sits Lopez in that spot. And then, what the hell is Budenholzer doing? Okay, the Heat score there. It's tied at 118. They have a timeout. They didn't call it. They go to overtime. You know, they inbound it to Giannis. He chucks it up from 3/4 court. Nowhere near. You call timeout. You advance the ball to the front court. Draw up a play. Budenholzer's sitting there with his thumb up his ass. And by the way, this ended up happening in overtime. So how about, and it wasn't the only time, because They have the ball at the end of regulation, and they don't get the shot off. I think Giannis actually chucked it up after the horn. And they had the ball at the end of overtime and didn't get a shot off. And of course, the one at the end of regulation, Budenholzer just ate the timeout. And how about this? Budenholzer, I told you about this earlier in the series. It's so stupid. Coach Spo knew this from the get-go. The very first year that they instituted the replay challenge and you only get one. You can't use it until late in the fourth quarter. You can't. If the officials make a bad call early in the game, you got to eat it. You cannot use it until the fourth quarter. You have to save it. Budenholzer uses his timeout 3 minutes into the game? What the hell is going on that is so important 3 minutes into the game? With that bad call, the next 45 minutes for you are ruined? Do you think Budenholzer wishes he still had that challenge in overtime when Giannis fouled Max Strus on the three? Because I didn't see a foul. But he can't challenge. How do you challenge in the first quarter? It's crazy. It doesn't even matter what happened. How do you use your challenge in the fourth quarter? I think Budenholzer gets fired. He stinks. And I rarely do this with coaches. But he stinks. Amazing. So Jimmy ties it there. And look, for me, the legend of Jimmy Butler continues. Drawing up that play, they're in the timeout huddle, and Spo explained it after the game. He's drawn up the play, and he says they have different variations of that play. We've seen Bam with the game winner from Vincent out of bounds with that play. Maybe that's what he was drawing up again. And Jimmy says to Spo, no, let me be the guy. Spo says, okay. And then Jimmy scores there, and you noticed, before you knew this part, that Jimmy asked to be the guy and Spo changed the play. Before you knew this, you saw it. When Jimmy hit the shot, then it goes to overtime. Jimmy's egging on the crowd. What? What? I can't hear you. And then when he walks back to the timeout, he looks at Spo. Spo smiles and points at Jimmy. Jimmy points at him, and they do a fist bump. So you know the story was true. Jimmy told him, I'm the guy. Do it for me. And he came through. Of course he came through. He's an all-time great playoff performer. Oh, I got goosebumps right now. I'm so happy. All-time great playoff performer. So then in overtime, for me, 2 huge plays. And Bam Adebayo, sensational in the fourth quarter and overtime. He was getting so much shit in the first half, and I get it. At one point, he was like 1 for 8, missed a 3 late in the shot clock. He's hurting out there. You could see it. Like these next few days, game 1 is not till Sunday. That's huge to continue getting the treatment for the next several days. It's not that Bam, like he doesn't have the killer instinct. He's just not as good as we want him to be. And the things that he's really good at, it's pretty good. He is what he is. We want him to be up here, and he's like here. But right here is still really, really good. We want him to be this guy that he just isn't. He's not folding under pressure. He's not choking. And no matter what happens offensively, he's still great defensively. He was phenomenal defensively in the second half. A game where everyone was crushing him at halftime. Hit triple-double. First ever playoff triple-double. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. He had big baskets in the fourth quarter, big three-point play in the fourth quarter, a putback dunk to start overtime, a tip-in overtime as well, before fouling out on a phantom 6th foul. A phantom foul. Bam, you better give Bam his flowers. He's not what you want him to be, but the thing he is still pretty damn great. And he was great last night, especially when you consider what he looked like in the first half. That a guy who could struggle and hurt, a guy who could struggle the way he was struggling, and then have that type of impact in the second half, that's a big-time player. He was big-time last night. I'm very proud of Bam. Very proud of him. Two biggest plays in overtime. Gabe Vincent, best inbounds passer, finds Cody Zeller, the last option on that inbounds under the basket, finds Cody Zeller wide open for a dunk. By the way, Cody Zeller, what a solid acquisition at the buyout market. He's just a solid backup big man. Solid. Makes all the right plays, smart player, doesn't do stupid shit. Just a solid backup big man. Vincent finding Zeller, putting the Heat up 7, and Giannis fouling Strus on the 3 when it's a 2-point game. They then score the next 5 after the Heat went up 7, and Strus hits 2 of 3, makes it a 2-possession game, 128-124, and there you go. We know how it ended. Wow. You get the final shot there. I think it was Jimmy who couldn't convert the final shot, and they don't even get the final shot off Milwaukee. Because, they're a dumb team. Giannis gives it up, Middleton gives it up, and Grayson Allen becomes their Clarence Weatherspoon. Seriously. You don't even get the shot up. Grayson Allen. And you know what? First of all, we don't ever have to hear again that the reason the Heat beat the Bucks in 2020 was because of the bubble. That's over. That conversation is done. The Heat beat the Bucks then because they were better, and they beat them now because we own them. Never have to have that conversation again. But this was coming out of the timeout, 118-116 at the end of the fourth quarter. And I'm saying to myself, I want them to shoot the 3. I trust Jimmy with all the big 3-pointers now. Totally good with it. This is why we all thought it was going in Game 7 last year in the Eastern Finals. Because he makes those shots. I want them to go for 3 in this spot. I felt like they would win it with a 3. Well, obviously they would because they're down 2. But I felt like if they attempted a 3, they would make it. But they go for 2 there because they know if they get that 2, they're going to win the 5 minutes in overtime. And when you're the road team, that is never the strategy. You go for the win instead of an extra 5 minutes, especially when you had to use all that energy to come back down 13 or 15 at the start of the fourth quarter. You don't have another 5 minutes. The Heat knew they had another 5 minutes, and they knew the Bucks did not. That game goes to overtime. It's the rare game where the home team wants nothing to do with an extra 5 minutes. The Bucks, the crowd too, of course. I told you this yesterday. If we're in the fourth quarter and it's a close game, that crowd will be shook. But going into overtime, the Bucks were totally shook. The home team was cooked. You knew. You're watching at home. Yeah, we got 5 more minutes. We won this game. They were shook. You knew we won that game. Yes. Oh, man. What a week. What a last few days it's been, huh? So now, and we'll do more of this tomorrow probably, but now we can actually say it and not worry about a jinx. Heat, Knicks. It's so on. Yes. Heat, Knicks. If you're a Heat fan, look, when I was 20, 25 years old, I'm a massive Heat fan. So there are plenty of 20 and 25-year-old massive Heat fans out there. I'm not, you've heard about it, but you don't really know what Heat Knicks was about. You don't really know what it was like. Go learn. Go learn. And this time, now, they have played in the playoffs one time since the stretch from 97 to 2000. Every game went to a deciding either first round game 5 or game 7. The Heat had home court advantage every time. Every series ended in Miami. The first one, the Heat win, they come back down 3-1. The next 3, the Knicks broke our heart. This time, the Knicks have home court advantage for the first time ever. Yes, they played in 2013. It's not the same. I finally get to experience Heat Knicks the way it was when I was a kid as an adult now. Because 2013 was not the same. 2013, they met in the second round. The Heat won in 5. The Heat winning that series was always inevitable. It's the big 3. It's the defending champion Miami Heat. That Knicks team was okay. Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, they had no chance against the Heat. It was always Heat. It was always Heat in a short series. That's not Heat Knicks. That's not the same thing. This is going to be Heat Knicks. These two teams mirror those teams. These two teams, Heat Knicks, there's a lot of similarities to those Heat Knicks teams. This Knicks team is tough. They are physical. They defend. This Heat team is tough and physical, and they defend. This is Heat Knicks, where I don't know who's going to win the series. Nope, you don't know who's going to win this series. In 2013, everyone knew it was the Heat. No question. That's not Heat Knicks. This has the 90s Heat Knicks feel to it. This is going to be something. We got it. Heat Knicks is back. This is going to be special. If you're a young Heat fan and you don't know about Heat Knicks, you're going to learn. I can't believe, if you're my age, I'm 42, we get to experience now Heat Knicks as an adult. It's going to be so great. I can't wait. I can't wait.